Howdy. Just get my space set up a little bit throughout these old Q-tips. This little towel over a bit. My wet palette going. Water. Water's good stuff. Always keep a squeezy bottle of water near your space, because you never know when you're going to need it. Going right there. So, tonight, I have this. I hold it in focus a little bit. This is the beginnings of a Biologus Putrifier. Last night, I painted some of his potions. Probably give some of those another coat tonight if I get there. But I'm looking to hit a lot of the bigger pieces of the model. So he's going to fit into the same color scheme pretty much as the rest of my army. So we'll get some amount of this sepia-toned white to keep him from just being a all green little figure. But his kneecaps and his shoulders and his chest piece, we'll get some slimy ground dark, which will get him nice and green too. I'll probably hit his weapon with some metallics. You can see that he has no arms and no head. Those are separate. I got him right over there. Hopefully I'll hit those up a little bit. And he's quite an adorable little model when you get him put together. He's got a cute little, this guy out so I can see him. He's got a cute little mask on as far as his helmet goes. Not sure how clear that'll be on camera, but boop. And he's got these little wings, which are pretty rad. So we're going to just try to make some good progress here. This is the last model I need to do before my combat patrol makes sense. I might have to do one more Plague Marine. I have to check against, I didn't earlier check today, check my models to make sure that I have the right configuration of them, because I did do some Plague Marine champions that I had. So I'm not exactly sure all my weapons line up, but we'll see. At the very least, I'm supremely close. This guy's on a slightly bigger base, which I almost screwed up yesterday, but we'll just get underway. Quick sip of tea and get down to business. Good stuff. Pick a brush here. We're going to start with Wraithbone for the white parts. Get right down to it. That guy's a good small brush in decent shape. I might need a slightly larger brush. I do have a slightly larger brush right with me, and it's brand new. What better place to use new brush than on this last model? Brush protector, I always keep them. A little tiny bin that I put them in, and I sometimes use them to hoist paint out of pots that I don't want to tip over. It's like a one-time pipette. Anyway, let's do this. Dab a little water on this brush to get everything flowing. Get it on my palette. There we go. You may notice in my voice I'm coming down with a little bit of cold. Two little ones. I've been carrying a cold around for quite some time. Is that in focus? Yeah, it's close enough. I'm the next one to get it, so the bell tolls for me. So all I'm doing right now is just, this is a base coat, so I'm not trying to be sloppy about it, but I'm not holding my breath either. I'm just going to get it onto the pieces that are going to be white. If a little bit goes over, that's fine. White is pretty easy to paint over, and this may end up needing two coats. Quite routinely it does, because it's white going over that green. It might not though. My point is though, it's like this is not a high stress moment. This is just putting paint on, covering some distance, and I'm getting this on first because I would like to get to the point where I can hit it with a wash tonight. I want to give it a little bit of time to dry. And in this case, some cases you don't want to paint into the little holes and divots, but in this case I do. This is going to get a darker wash, and that'll backfill into those. I don't want any real green showing up at this point. If I get a little bit on that cloak that's appearing in there, blurry, yeah, I suppose you guys can see. If I get any on the cloak, that's fine too. Right now, this step isn't super high stakes. I do want to get to the full edge of that thing though. Yeah, get right in there. He has a thigh guard that looks like it's going to be visible. That one is likewise going to get some wraith bone. Some of the models don't really have the thigh guard there, or maybe they did, but because in the past I put my models together completely, I may not have always seen it or been able to get to it. Who knows? Past is in the past. Decent brush stroke. I'm not sure this will need 2 coats. We'll see. It's always interesting. You got to sort of check the prime that you did based on how much the paint flows and soaks in. Yeah, just checking my monitor here to see how well I can see things. It's one of these like devils in the details moments whenever you start on a model. The weather a lot can affect your priming, presuming you do it outside. Dryness of the air, temperature, sun, all those things can have a reasonably profound effect on how the primer coat goes down. Then from that, how much paint actually soaks in versus sort of runs around on the model. So it is good. Yeah, we'll go all the way up the back of the pants here. It's good to be patient with yourself on the first coat, and not worry if you need a second one. And then of course you should, relatively speaking, you want to thin your paints a bit. Better to go a little too thin in 2 coats than go way too thick in one. So some of that green is showing through. You're all right. Here we go, little by little. His boot is also going to get wraithbone. There we go. I want to get all the way around this leg first. Underneath this section here. Always spin the model around a few times. Recheck what you're looking at. Perspective matters a lot in this. Death Guard models have a lot to miss, as I find out over and over again. There we go. There's a lot of layers on these legs, so if you got to just sort of push a little bit, push the brush in a little bit to get more paint in, that's cool. You do what you got to do. This step is relatively easy. I prefer 2-tone Space Marines. Nice if you can get a good mix of a couple colors that go nicely together. And I don't just mean like main color and trim. I mean having 2 very predominant, albeit not equal colors. The trim on this is kind of my habit, or better put, color scheme for this army. The trim's going to get Warplock Bronze, so I know that's settled. But having the white and the green just makes the model a little bit more dynamic. A little bit more variety. There we go. Obviously you want to keep things pretty lore appropriate, but you don't have to. There's nothing wrong if you do, but I've seen some pretty divergent interpretations of different factions through their models, and they all look cool. It's really kind of interesting to think about how cool a hobby this is, where like somebody painted all those little soldiers that are on that table. They got to paint them however they want. If you want pink Death Guard, you go for it. You have a good time. That's why I have not asked my child what color to paint my Death Guard, because she'd probably say pink, and then I would do it because I asked. But I will get some pink models. There's nothing wrong with pink. If she paints a Death Guard army, she can have a pink one. Alright, we're just going through. Yeah, see, I got some on there. No biggie. Always keep a few Q-tips lying around. Like, I'm not going to get obsessive about that one little spot. Hey, what's up, Rick? Howdy, howdy. How has your day been? There we go. Got a little more dab of paint in here. That's a little thick, but yeah, you'll live. Get underneath this little section here. I am always horrified by this step. All the paint looks so flat. I know I say this every time, but it never goes away. Very naked step in the process. Pull this back into view. There we go. Hey Rick, I'm good. I'm good. It was a good day. I'm a little under the weather. I finally picked up the cold that's been going around my house. But I held out for quite a while. Quite a while. Good day at work. Very good day at work. Got to hang out with some of my good Brazilian friends who all have amazing senses of humor. Every last one of them. Funny people. Good friends. And it's interesting because in my job, I work with people that are on the West Coast United States. And then, so they're a few hours in one direction, and my Brazil folks, depending on the time of year, it's either 1 hour and one earlier or they're later than me, clockwise. 1 hour difference or two. So I do get some time in the morning to hang with my Brazil folks before everyone else shows up, because I'm one of the few people on my team that's East Coast United States. Alright, that is. Let's spin this guy around again. Yeah, there's a couple little tiny spots I didn't get. There we go. Producer on my team is from Spiritu Sancti. I think I'm saying that Latin because of my early church days. But not Londrina, not Sao Paulo. Spiritu Sancti. Omni Patri Filii Spiritu Sancti. Amen. Anyway, probably mispronouncing that, but it's all good. I'm gonna get my strange apparatus out. It's not that strange, really. It's a honking thing with claws on it. I like to use it because I think it makes sense. I probably don't need it. That's probably excessive. I used to do this with my hands. I'll leave it over here in case I do actually need it, but I may dry things on it. But I got a few little spots on here. So the arm guards, I'm going to hit these with Wraith Bone also. They're just tiny bits, but they're important. Let's just make sure I'm looking close enough at this while I do it. I'm getting this Wraithbone out of the way. The second step is going to be slimy green stuff that goes over the other pieces. And I want this Wraithbone to dry. It's got to get some Seraphim Sepia as a wash. I don't want to put the wash on if the paint is still drying. What time is it here for me now? Right now it's 9:37 for me. You guys should be 10:30 down there, I think. You guys only have one time zone. You guys are sane with your time zones. Mine moves around over the course of the year. Really quite a mess. He's got this neat little injector gun. Such like a sly weapon. If you read Lords of Silence, they got a guy running around with these too. It's really, really cool. It's an injector gun. Such a weird officer class. Such an absolute translation of how the Death Guard see things. Job, lore-wise, is just to go nuts creating plagues. A lot of which they do just like on their own ship while they're going around. At least in the Lords of Silence they do. You just got this guy who's going around the ship. They have, tens if not hundreds of thousands of crew on this ship. The ship's like the size of a small town. And they have normal crew on it, somewhat normal. Not fully Nurgle embraced, just people that are horrifyingly sick. So they got all these diseases they're creating and just letting out on the ship. Pretty cool. There we go. Just get in this little notch here. It's reasonably painted over his glove. That'll get some crazy green. I'm going to see if this thing will sit gently. It'll sit on its side. Just looking for spots on the extra pieces. This has a skull, so that'll get Wraithbone. Part of the reason I do use Wraithbone on the model instead of just all green is because my treatment of it with Seraphim Sepia I use on skulls. I use it on the horns that they have sticking out of their head. Sometimes they have weird bone things sticking out in other spots. So on the armor it gives like a little bit of a callback to some of the other features, like skulls and stuff. So it keeps you sort of in a little zone in terms of the coloration you're going to see on it. I got to remember there's a couple more bottles on this piece. This is basically attached to his shoulders, pauldron. This model's broken up interestingly. It has a lot of fiddly bits hanging off of it, which is neat. It's really neat. I like this model. I know people dunk on Death Guard and like the points value of their combat patrol, but as far as the models go, it's an excellent training camp. Getting through, there's good height. Getting through 30 Poxwalkers, good lordy. Are you gonna try playing an RPG? Sweet. Sweet. Tell me more. I do some amount of tabletopping though online now because I moved a little further away from my buddies when I bought a house, but we still get online and play. It's good times. And I've been playing RPGs my whole life. Never gets old. Something about just hanging out with your friends. Essentially collectively storytelling. A little bit of gambling odds in there as you roll dice, depending on what game you play. There's plenty of games that don't have that much of a rolling mechanic. See if I can hold my models at this height from here on out. That seems to be a little bit better. Big, unwieldy hands. My hand fists. Yeah, in this hand he's got a potion bottle. Yeah, Biologus Putrifiers, they Develop plagues. Build out. Is this guy the actual grenadier? I don't even remember rules-wise what he does. He might be the guy that gives you the extra grenade usage. Yeah, they build toys. They build toys for spreading plagues. And they like their work. I can't tell if that's a tentacle or a hand. That's the most Death Guard statement I've made in a while. That's alright. You're getting it. Everybody gets painted. Yeah, I'm getting a little sloppy here. It's hard holding this little fiddly bit. Boo-hoo. Painting models is hard. There we go. Well, thank you very much for stopping by, Rick. It's good to see you. I know it's a little late on your end. But, you know, this thing will get recorded and posted, and I'll be curious to see what you think once it's up there. I hope you have an awesome night. I will diligently keep painting on your behalf. There we go. I love the fact that this is so global. And people are just checking in from other countries while I'm quietly sitting in my office. Take care. Painting away. Small world it's become. And yes, I know YouTube's been around for a long time. Your monolith is nearly finished. I do hope. I didn't check. I didn't check the old Discord. Ha! There are no pictures up. I don't feel bad. You just put them up. Good. Veer away from my own stream to look at pictures. Ha ha! That thing looks dope. Oh, that plate with the orb in the middle is just crazy. He did a really good job with that too. That's some like serious sci-fi good vibes going on there. That looks awesome. I think this is all green and metal on this guy. Yeah, it's all green and metal. Am I hiding any other bits? Those look really cool. And it is coming along nicely. I hope you are supremely proud of that thing. I think it looks dope. Oh. And I lost my window. Sweet. Models everywhere and not a drop to drink. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna should probably put a link to this doohickey in here. How do I? There we go. Nope, not create. There we go. Let's see if this works. If you're curious, I love seeing pictures of people's stuff. You can drop by a Discord. There's not even a lot of people there. But we do share some pictures of stuff that we're working on. And I love to see people's stuff. So, if you find yourself watching one of these streams and you're like, hey, I would show you my stuff, go show me your stuff. That monolith is dope. I like it. I really like it. I should look up what it does mechanically. I am very unfamiliar. I think I've seen it on a couple other people's like battle reports. There we go. That's pretty much my focal point is my chin. All right, this guy's gonna get grained up. I'm probably gonna use a pretty sizable brush for this. This stuff sort of. This is just to let you know. That's Slimy Grime Dark. That is my supplemental Death Guard sauce. If I go right over Death Guard Green as a primer, it's pretty safe. It might take 2 coats. If you're going over other stuff, I've tried painting this over black. It takes a little bit more effort. Both my elbows down. Over white, it takes several coats. Over white and black, it looks a little funny too. I might have to get the slimy grime bucket out. Yeah, that'll probably take 2 coats. That's a really cool effect paint. Try to keep you in the shot, buddy. Sort of zoom things in a little bit. Always trying new things with camera angles and stuff so that I don't blind the people gracious enough to try to watch me do this stuff. Alright. And this is really not a paint. It's really not a stain. It's like, it doesn't really smell like anything. Death card getting ready for Christmas. Absolutely. Absolutely. I even got a Christmas tree. My miasmic malignifier that I still haven't really based well, but I think that guy's pretty close to done. I'll probably base him offline. He is. I like the fact that he's got all these different potion bottles, and I decided to make them colorful because plague potions can be fun too. And also, I'm really kind of worried that I'm gonna like lose track of who's on the board. So like my typhus has got glitter on him as a leader. This guy's got all of his potion bottles on him. So I'll be able to keep track of them while moving around the board. Not accidentally like take damage to them and pull them off the table when I should be icing a marine. You know, I'm just gonna go over that edge there. I'm gonna get all the way in here. Hell with it. You can lay this slimy grime dark on pretty heavy. I like to. So I'll get just a bit of it on there to start so that it's wet. And then this stuff kind of moves around a little like a wash. There's a bunch of particles in it. There we go. Yeah, you may have noticed that it's sort of like seeped into the edge where the knee piece meets up. It starts finding its way into little crevices and stuff. It's really good. I want to see a Nurgle Christmas. He's so generous. There's so many gifts. Nurgle's the one Christmas you want to go to. Everybody gets gifts. It's a celebration. I think there should be a Nurgle Christmas special on TV every year. All the boys and girls get gifts. There we go. It's not easy being green. Now I gotta be a little careful going in here because I'm all the way up next to the white stuff that I did. But all in all, that's pretty good. It might get a second coat. It might be warranted. It might not. But it is this AK grimy green, slimy, blah, 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 blah. It's gross. It's thick. The paint itself is not thick, but like as it dries, it's got a texture to it. It's really quite delightful. Now let's watch me really screw this thing up. There's a little tiny little helmet. I mean, I understand that it's the gift of the plague. You like being healthy, but once you succumb to it, I mean, they seem like they're all happy. They're all always smiling. I don't know. Yeah, lizard. Give me my mutations. I'm all set. I'm good to go. Sign me up. I'm actually just going to glop over this whole thing because there we go. Green stuff. Not green stuff, but slimy grime dark. Yeah, I mean, like you can end up with like an extra tentacle coming out of your stomach. Who couldn't make amazing use out of that? Sounds like fun. All right, let's hit this boy. Once again, I'm not too worried if I end up getting on the edging here that'll be metal. I just want to get a thick enough glop of this stuff in here to really fill in with this green. Not easy being green. That's good. Man, this whole painting models thing in parts is pretty smart. I knew I was supposed to kind of do it, and I'm not always going to do it, but once you start doing it, you just realize all the spots that get easier. Yeah, maggots for eyes, no doubt. That one guy in the Lords of Silence, is he the Biologus Putrifier? I think he might actually be. Now I can't remember, and I recorded like 2.5 hours of lore video on it. I think it is the Biologus Putrifier. Um, is it Slurt? God, I recorded those videos like 3 months ago. His eyes are blown out, but he's got all these eyes under his skin that you can like see through the skin spinning around. He can like see through stuff. He basically sees. He can see like life, not life. He can see corruption. So cool. So he can see like places in a wall that have like decayed a bit. And so if you're during a siege, it's like, oh, this might be a good place to like place down some satchel charges and blow a wall out. You can see, you know, that some Imperial Guardsman through a wall is like sick, like has like stage 2 cancer, even though the Marine doesn't know he has it yet. Not Marine, the Imperial Guard. Like really cool stuff like that. I don't know. That book was just amazing. Because you actually, it takes you, oh god, those things are sloppy wet. You follow around this Imperial Guard captain who actually gets turned into a poxwalker. He's like rolling around with the crew of the ship. He gets taken prisoner because he knows some stuff that these Death Guard on this ship called the Solace are trying to figure out. They just went through like, they just busted out of the eye. It's like, whatever it is, 13th Great Crusade. They have no idea where they are because they got thrown around by the warp, land on this planet, and they pick up this one dude after they lay siege to the entire planet. And they turn him into a poxwalker, so he's kind of got to obey what they're saying. And little by little, like, he just dies out. His hair starts coming out. But eventually he doesn't feel pain. Gets shot through with a laser a couple times. Like, you know what? I'm good. It just feels cold. But really, I mean, I know I'm being a little bit snarky, but I mean, these models don't lie. Lots of these little poxwalkers, raise them up a little bit. Lots of these little poxwalkers are pretty smiley. And man, did I put far less detail into these models when I got started. Like, look at those faces. I barely put a wash on those. I gotta give these guys some love. They still look good. They look dope. They just less colorful because they're the first things I ever did. Uh, but yeah, Poxwalker's just Death Guard notorious for singing on their approach. They're coming in, you're getting all shelled. They're singing songs. I mean, they're pretty sad songs, but not sad. They're kind of like, I mean, it's dark humor. But you know, let me check this guy. He's probably a little damp still. We probably just wait a couple minutes. At which point I can, because I've always got multiple tasks going. I'm gonna boink. I'm gonna take these bells off for now because I'm gonna be doing some work here. Speaking of Christmas trees, the Nurgle Christmas tree. Apparently there's like an Age of Sigmar, I think, model of like a tree with eyes coming out of it or some crap that I saw somewhere. I don't remember where I saw it, but man, I want one. Yeah, cue the guttural throat singing. It's just like crazy stories of them just like marching out of place and you just like a fog rolls in, then you can sort of smell something funny, and then you just hear I gotta put a ton of wash on this base. It's not gonna be Seraphim Sepia, I know that. Mortarian Grime probably isn't gonna show anything. Don't want to use black. Let's go find some Agrax Earthshade. That solves everything. Agrax Earthshade, I summon thee. Take all the pain away. Yeah, man, I'm really excited as I get closer and closer. Now I'm precariously close to actually playing a game. You get really close to these models. Let's see, maybe I'll hold it here. Get all up in this. Yeah. I guess posting my elbow is probably a good idea when I do this. So I don't know that this will be the only thing that I put down, but I got to get some darker color on this base, and then after I've got it reasonably covered, then I will go back and I'll do the metal around the edge, and I'll do a lot of the detail work. One of the things I probably should have done when I started, yeah, I don't know if that's going to look all right or not, because I should have gotten some more black primer right around this base, but I didn't. So now my Agrax will suffer for it. I don't think, it might look cool. Might take either A, more than one coat, or B, I may be painting over this in the end, but it's pretty light around that edge. I don't think that's going to cut it. What's a step darker than wash? That's awesome that you wiped the board with Poxwalkers. Contrast paint. Let's try contrast paint. Two-fisted. These I haven't ever used right. But there's a first time for everything. I've got Skeleton Horde, and I've got Snakebite Leather. I want something brown. It's going to be a little thicker than a wash. Contrast paint it is. I do have little pots of just straight up contrast medium. I've used them and done experiments. Get these rollers moving around. I don't think I've ever used it right. Can you just take regular paint, mix it with contrast medium, and make contrast paint out of it? I don't know. This Snakebite Leather looks a little darker, so I'll go Skeleton Horde first. Not sure I've ever actually opened that thing. Do. Back to my big brush, make sure I've washed it off. Let's see if this looks dark enough. It's closer. Maybe it'll take 2 coats. Maybe. That white is pretty tough to get through, though. I don't know. Experiment 1, experiment 2 right next to it. I've definitely mixed like base paints. I'll color mix like crazy. But once you start getting into contrast territory, I'm not sure how that's. I just don't have enough experience. I need to use more of it. You know what? This is starting to look pretty decent. I am going to check out how this Snakebite Leather looks. It's a little redder. That's pretty cool. That may dry all right. Now I'm torn as to which one to use. I'm going to just stick with the Snakebite. Get a bunch in there. And I realize I put my brush right back in there after I dipped into this other stuff, but I don't imagine I'm ever going to be using this paint for anything that needs to desperately be this very specific brown color. So I'm probably safe. Yeah, I'll just get a bunch of that in there. Oh, now the ground does get to keep a decent amount of contrast. That's pretty cool. I'm not worried about that thing. It's metal. That's going to get covered in lead belcher. Yeah, this works. This works. I do need to learn a lot about contrast paint. I mean, maybe I do or don't, but it seems neat. But it's pretty recent addition as far as I've seen. Like it's just a few years ago they had that like quest to get people to stop using just straight up gray models. Should have a quest to keep this thing in the camera shot. That's what they should do. I don't know. To me, it seems like a neat tool, but I don't know. I don't know if I need it. Then again, in order to use it right, you're pretty much supposed to do that sort of dry brushy method. Something close to slapping and chopping, which I've only just started. I only just started doing with the metal on that Titan. So maybe I just haven't been doing the initial steps that make it worthwhile. All right, let's get in there. Now, the reason I'm using contrast and was going to use a wash is because I can just get in here with a big brush and just lay it in to any of these weird crevices that I can't easily reach. I can be confident that I can just sort of push it around with the brush without too much effort, and it'll get where it needs to go. These little hidey spots. I don't have to be too ginger about it. I don't have to beat the daylights out of the brush getting it in there. Like I can just put it in, dab. Stuff will come off the brush and seep. Seep, seep, seep. Yeah. Look at that. Oh, yeah, that's right. Nice little touches. Little great work. This thing is cute. Oh, now I gotta be gentle, though. Gotta be careful not to dip my hands in all this wonderful paint I'm putting on here. These big models, very easy to just start spinning the thing around and get stuff all over your hands. Did that with the Tyrant, did this thing, all of its spikes everywhere. Everywhere spikes. Up and down. Colored metallic color, yeah. So I have messed around with mixing metallics and colors a bit. Not a ton. But I did see a video somewhere of some dude doing it and it looked really cool. Yeah, it's nice and gloppy. It looks like a pool of sludge yerk. That is amazingly high praise. That is precisely what I was going for. I think I'm humbled. It's a very nice thing to say. That was the nicest thing you could have said to me after looking at that. Because, man, it does. It looks kind of sewage-like. All right, so hopefully I bought some time with that step. Let this other paint dry a little bit. Yeah, it does. Man, I like you, snakebite leather. You're gross. No, you're not supposed to be like this. You probably Age of Sigmar folks probably love that. It's probably like half of it. Like, oh, I got a druid. He wears a little bit of brown. They probably dump through this stuff like crazy. Hey, you got leather armor. Oh, another guy with leather armor. The grim dark future. That's sewage paint. Love it. All right, well, good. That bought me a little bit of time. I feel a little better about that. Still a lot of lead belcher to do around the edge of it. Or do I just... I would have to put a base of black down first. I was like, oh, I could just dry brush it. Maybe I'll dry brush it with black and do things in reverse. I'm styly like that. Alright, so setting skeleton. I didn't know you misspelled anything. I think yerk is a great evocative sound. Oh, I know, it's so dangerous. Like, look at some of those Sigmar models are just like, oh, they're cool. Like this wild tree. What the heck is it? I'll type this in here. Nurgle tree? I don't know what it's called, but yeah. Feculent gnarl maw. What a cool model. Oh, wasn't wrong. So it's got little bells that hang from it like this. That's those things harken to each other. This is like the modern day version of that. So neat. Feculent Gnarlmaw. Really cool model. Very screwed up looking tree with this big sideways mouth and these three multi-globule eyes on it. Should build an army just for that thing. Alright, Seraphim Sepia. Time for you to do your magic. Be praised. So the one catch with that AK grime stuff, slime grime, it's not dry fast. It does not dry fast. You're in for a ride with that stuff. Yeah, this looks like it's dried enough to accept its Lord and Savior Seraphim Sepia. This is the only part that I don't like about doing models in parts is the tiny guys are wicked tiny. I know it's going to hide a lot of my sins in the end, but my hands are kind of big. It's like a little bit outsized on this thing. Whatever, I apparently complain about everything. It's fine. I'm having fun. Good times, dope rhymes. And this Seraphim Sepia, I just absolutely love it as a wash because it's relatively light. I'll even sometimes dab it on my wet palette and thin it out even more. It's super light, so it knocks whites down just a healthy notch without going too crazy, which is why it's really good for use on skulls because you get a little bit of contrast like the eye holes and the teeth, but not a ton. It just looks like bone that's been out in the sun for a while. And then if you want to go back and dab in something darker like a black or an agrax, you can. But it's just adds a bit of almost aging. It adds imperfection. That's what it adds. Imperfection. And so as a starting point, before I surgically go in and add anything else, when this thing shrinks into that wraith bone, it is good times. Storm, yeah, I have a lot to learn about Age of Sigmar. I don't know any. I know about the Feculent Gnarlmaw. Here's a question. Smart people in the room. Is this an Age of Sigmar model? Like, this is the freebie guy. This is the freebie guy from my first video where I started everything. This is the first thing I ever painted. You savages. It's important. This buddy. Are these guys Age of Sigmar models? They look Sigmarian. Those are freebies. That's how the nice man at the Warhammer store gave those to me. I always wondered where they were from. They don't look like they're from the grimdark future. Even on the footies. Stay in the camera shot, homie. It is so hilarious that I have to like verbally remind myself that I'm on camera. It's a lot to pay attention to. Like, I know people get really good at this, but painting live, I've got this model that I'm holding kind of where I like to hold things, but not really. Always working on camera angle so you guys can see it. But like naturally, if I was just sitting here, I might lean forward and just start painting like this. Can't do that. I've got a screen in front of me. I can see you guys chatting. I've got a screen to the right to me. It's basically a monitor so that I can live see where I'm putting this thing and make sure that I'm actually cutting footage. It's not bad. I'm not complaining. It's just very different than sitting in your office by yourself in the wee hours of the night. It makes you more attentive, though. I've definitely found that by streaming, I pay more attention to what I'm painting, which is probably for the best. Probably for the best. All right, what the heck next step am I gonna do? I have to check if this, like this AK, it's still a little wet. Still, oh my god, yeah. This guy's sitting in a pool of his own slimy green refuse. What a mess. What a mess. Could, in theory. So I got this guy. I think he's going to be one of my champs. The Plague Marine champion can have a Glovo fist and a plasma pistol. Do need a kit bash. One of those to do. Got two of those to do. If I'm patient. Oh, you know what I can do? I don't have to move on to something else. I've got all this string and all these wood pieces to do. And I've still got some potion bottles lying around. Still got some potion bottles. We'll move on to that. Oh, I got metallics and I got red. Okay. I got stuff to do. I do have stuff to do. Sweet. Yeah, so their old armor from way back in the day, and I just saw that I missed the spot. Their old armor was like just kind of pale, some descriptions just kind of marbly colored, from before they were traders. And so what I did was sort of like a little head nod to some of the old armor, just to mix it up, because I didn't want it to just be a sea of green on the table and, you know, on my wonderful growing shelf of stuff. So what you get out of it, like on someone like Typhus who's got a ton of armor, like I mostly did him up in a pretty, yeah, but there you go, a bunch of green. But like you could see, he's got a couple little elements around his arms and stuff that lighten things up. Whereas on like a Plague Marine, it just breaks the model up a little bit. You know, his pauldrons and his chest piece and his knees, like pauldrons and chest piece are like big and central, and you're looking down at a model like this on the table, so you still mostly see green. But when you get things in profile, having a little bit more color in there, it's kind of helpful. Not that this sepia is like a color, but it's not the same thing. It's overly repeated. Obviously, you can see on the back. Yeah, it's mainly just kind of like a, yeah, top camera going a bit blurry. It's mostly because I'm holding it at a different height. It's a whole depth of field thing. But yeah, it breaks the model up a bit. You get a little less monotony. Like this guy. Looks cool. Bug Eyes McGee. So, in terms of, do I need a brown that actually isn't a contrast paint? I think I do. I think I'll probably use Rakarth Flesh on the little pieces of string. That will be annoying. But Sandry Dust is probably too light. Let me see if I have a regular old brown color. Should. Bang brown. Alright, my two things that I use for buckles, and not buckles, but belts and stuff. Dryad bark is what I'll go with. It's pretty dark. So yeah, the Death Guard generally, Death Guard green is their main thing, but I decided to spice them up a little bit. Like, I don't mind folks that hold it like this. Yeah, I don't mind folks that just like put their primer down and go over the whole model with like a singular method. I think that's cool. I think someday I may need to do that when I gotta go fast. But for the most part, right now, I don't gotta go fast. And this is much more of a ritual than anything else. My little happy place I get to go to. I kind of don't want to go fast. Um, so I've been on a tear the last few weeks. Once I started streaming this, man, I'm ripping. Yeah, brown sticks. I think I'm getting some more models for my birthday. I don't mean just buying them for myself. My significant other has been asking coy questions about what factions. The Green Guard, the Deathmen. I think I'm getting some models for my birthday. Suits me just fine. I'm just trying to get between these pieces of rope that all these potions hang from. Enough patience. There we go. My progressive lenses doing their job. There we go. They're doing their job, man. It looks blurry to me. I'm also just tired old man. Just a little dab. Painting away. A few months ago, I'd be terrified to do this. I'm just a little scared. Now I'm just cognizant of trying to hold steady. I'm so impressed with people that are actually like legit crazy good at this. It takes so much work. It's great work. You feel constantly like you're learning new stuff, but it is so much effort. There we go. I gotta somehow get underneath that stick, but not hit these bottles gently. That thorn. So interesting to me how it's like mini Mortarian. Precious little wings. Very interesting, deliberately made model. Like stands out from a lot of the rest of them. And he doesn't have a crazy ton of like, I mean, still got body horror, but not a ton of it. I mean, he's got some like blown out holes. He's basically got that one set of tentacle stuff around his blade, but then his whole head is covered, and it's not like it's covered with a crack in it with like teeth coming out. So he gets like a relatively light amount of the Nurgle treatment and just lets it show through his toys. Okay. Tip of that stick. I think I got most of the top two sticks. Gentle in here. Nice and gentle. And now I got two bottom sticks. After this, I'll get the strings. Who doesn't like to go into war with bolter weapons? A bunch of thoroughly noxious potions that are in glass bottles hanging from string. Why not? That's one brave soldier. There we go. Good stuff. Good stuff. Give that a little scooch up there. You're missing some paint. I can see you now. The inside there, got the inside over here. It's a paint party. We go and just step by step get in between. Not too worried. Oh, that's the other thing I gotta do. There's all these sort of straps. I might need a smaller brush than even this. Go down to microscopic brush mode. Do I have something smaller? Oh, is that the tiniest brush I got? That's the tiniest brush I got. On me. That one's beat. That one's not so great. Oh, this one's a little tinier. All right. Hey, Dan. And Brazil representing tonight. How's it going, buddy? Yeah, it does look like it smells good. All right, let's just get these little tiny edges. This part is scary to me. Now I'm back in fear territory. So dainty. Oh man, yeah, that is small. Barely any paint goes on there. I'm gonna put a nerdling fellow somewhere. I think I'm actually gonna get. Let's have a sip of tea. I think I'm actually gonna get the box of piles of nerdlings and just break them all out. And put nerdlings everywhere, not actually use them to fight. Like, that tyrant needs nerdlings on it. I don't have any. I have a tiny little cauldron in one of these model sets, but I'm out of nerdlings. Yeah, fear is the mind killer. It is. But yeah, I need more nerdlings. Put them everywhere. Maybe I'll do that tonight, is just order that. It's a box with, like, I think it comes with like 3 piles of them that all go on their own base. I'll buy that for myself for my birthday. My birthday's coming up. Oh, you want to see something real funny? I'll show you something funny. This is actually hilarious. No, no, that's not the page. That's not the page. Where is the page? Oh, ba-da-ba-ba-boo. Where's this thing? Look at this. Boop. Let me put this in chat. I got a store. Just like the crap I do in my spare time. I want to get my own mug. So I made a store and I just ordered my own mug from it. How silly is that? It's hilarious. And then I designed a couple baby onesies for my own children and put them in my store. What a weird world, huh? It was easy. It was actually it was a little screwed up. It wasn't too bad. I had to get some help from Shopify. It wouldn't connect to my Google account, which wasn't necessary, but then I was like, well, I built this thing. I haven't put it anywhere yet. You just make a store on Shopify, put your stuff on it. It's wild. Yeah, so you set your own prices, so I just made them cheap. Branded. That's exactly what I'm going to actually do, though. I'm going to boop, replace that. A nice mug. Get the second mug from my tea. Get a couple onesies from my spawn. And I figured I'd make myself an apron. Because, like, I think that's a cool idea where I could just hang my apron on the shelf and then just come in, put my apron on, do my paint thing. But yeah, I do have merch. I haven't shared that link anywhere but this actual chat. I figure out how to integrate it with my burgeoning YouTube empire. Oh, that stuff's delicious, man. Washes right down. But yeah, I'm probably gonna swap it in for my paint water as my paint water mug. As Angry Dust, you look like string, don't you? Alright, so after I get this string on, yeah, no, keep it classy with an apron. Why not? Once you get this string on, I'll actually glue this guy together. I will have reached a level of bliss where I think enough of the stuff underneath has been done where I can safely glue them together, and then I'll feel much better about this whole enterprise. Little bits of strings and things. Yeah, don't drink mineral spirits by mistake. That stuff is fumy. I love that stuff. This room gets dank. I start having visions. One of those you should know better. I stuck my finger right in. It was like, ah. Right afterwards, I was like, you dumb. You big dummy. There's nothing like late night painting. Get the thoughts moving. Just super gentle getting these strings, and I'm also just covering up spots that I didn't hit before. This will need a wash of some sort. I gotta figure out how the heck I'm gonna wash this. I might just get black on this spot just to darken some areas up. I do have a couple bottles I still gotta hit. Hit that bottle. I love the term mug for face. I love it. I use it all the time. This mug. I still can't believe I show my mug on the internet. For reals. I was actually talking to Dan. You know, it was probably like a month or two ago, and I was like, yeah, maybe like if I hit like 4,000 or 40,000 subscribers, I'll show my face. And then I was just like, you know what, I gotta learn how to stream, whatever. I'm a shy person. Forcing you to look up my nose by holding the model close to the camera. There we go. Now. Yeah, I definitely winged that thing a little bit. Let's get a Q-tip out. Rescue Q-tip. Away. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, as much as I have a couple bottles to do, got some sword work to do. I should look at the friggin' box, make sure I put the arms on the correct sides. But yeah, it's like, hey, have a drink of this. And this side, he's like, hey, oh, gets his arm first. His arm goes across. Yeah, that glues on nice. Everything underneath there, I'm in pretty good shape to reach. I think we're gonna glue them. Let's glue them together. Yeah, I don't know, man. All of this is like play, you know. It thoroughly is like play for me, and I get very enthusiastic once I get rolling. It was weird because I think mineral spirits and mineral oil are very different things. Because I use mineral oil on like a chopping block, cutting board. It does not smell like wood. Well, it smells kind of like a wood shop, but it doesn't. It's not fumey like that. So I was like, oh, what do it smells like? Ooh. I think you're in good company as far as having weird humor. All right, let's glue this guy up. I can get to all the funny pieces he's got when I need to. I'm gonna flip this guy over. Blink. That weird piece. His head is still a little on the soppy side. I want this guy to look real, so I've run out of patience for unglued parts. What? I am gonna pop you out of this thing though. Alright. On goes the arm. If I can get you to, yeah, there we go. This arm just holds up right against the model, which is nice. This is weird country. There we go. I'm gonna hold them a little longer. There we go, he should be fine now. Work his other arm into the equation. Glop of the happy juice. I could put it. Does his arm actually go up or does it go down? I feel like him in party mode would be pretty cool. Pick the bottle up like that. Yay! But I don't think that's how it goes. I don't think that's how it goes. Yeah. I don't think I know how it goes. This all made sense a minute ago. Dry fit just fine. When in doubt. Oh yeah, he's holding the bottle back. Not that I cared that much. I do want it to fit nice. And it doesn't. It doesn't fit nice at all. The plastic's just all, yeah, there we go. There, we found it. Man, it took a while spinning that thing around. And I'm losing my arm. Alright, maybe I was a little preemptive with this. There we go. Everybody just sit down and chill the heck out, all you weird arms. Now I'm really going to sit here and wait. Ah, there we go. Yeah, I could zoom this thing out a bit. Whoop, that's in. Real time zooming. And it'll keep focus a bit better in a wider field of vision. Yeah, and I want them to stay a little bit colorful, so I may end up washing it and then taking the same base color that I used and using that for highlights on it, because then it'll look lighter after the wash. So it may actually get like a reasonably, probably Seraphim Sepia wash on it, which will take the colors down and then like around the edges so that the bottles look like they shine. So not covering the whole thing up. I used the original color that I used because like this stuff is really neat. and you want it to pop. This stuff is pretty cool. I like it. So the washes will take it down, but then I'll put a little dab of the original stuff on there just to draw the eye in. Man, I hope your arms stay stuck. His injector gun is definitely going to get some of that Tesseract glow. I could definitely use a little bit more on his bottle scheme. I need another bright color. I don't think I have anything pink that's bright. Like I can mix red and white, that's fine, but that doesn't end up looking like bright pink. It doesn't have any like pop to it. I could drop some Nurgle's Rot on some of these. I might actually use Nurgle's Rot on that big bottle he's got in his hand. All right, give this just a couple more seconds because obviously I had that foible where he started falling apart. Don't want that. All right, let me set you down. I will drop this guy a dab. See if he's dry. Not really. You're close enough. The outside of him is. Yeah, turn. Yeah. His head's adorable. That helmet. So neat. A little. It doesn't look like a bug. In fact, there's a couple heads that actually look legit like bugs. But it's a very adorable model. He's a cute little guy. You're absolutely right that I can put him in whatever pose I want. And I was tempted to have him like raising the bottle up, but I would have had to have prepared for that. There's a notch on the pauldron, and it wouldn't click in unless it went into the right spot. And the notch basically, well, you can't see it anymore, but it goes into the gorget. This thing, it's a notch that fit in there. If I was gonna do it in a different pose, I should have planned for it. Once the glue's on, it's like you kind of want to roll. Kind of want to, yeah, keep them moving. But I agree 100%. And when I get to my 3 Chaos Lords, we're going to be kit bashing and reposing and repurposing stuff. I have piles of Plague Marine sprue bits because I still got to do at least 14 Plague Marines. So I still need to buy 7 more. But anyway, I've got lots of fiddly bits. And I've got 2 of this guy that you can't see because of how the lighting is. He's just a regular Chaos Lord for now. I'll swap his big old weapon out. He does thankfully. Will this go on here? Yeah, it does. Good. Yep, and that fits right in. He does thankfully have a plasma pistol, which is what I'm already planning on having him have for a ranged weapon. But I'm gonna Death Guard him up proper. And then my 3rd Chaos Lord is all just going to be made from spare parts and green stuff. So yeah, there he is in all his glory. He is neat. So a lot of what I have to do at this point is just more bottles and some metallics. Leave this guy to sit for a second. I'm going to do a little tiny bit of cleanup because I dropped some of that slimy, greeny, grimy stuff. Yeah, get this off the table. If I put my elbow in this stuff, it stays. And I will definitely change the pose around because I'm going to have 3 of the same. I made that shot. 3 of the same Chaos Lord in the army. So I want them to all look different. I want them to look cool. They have a slightly bigger, they have a base like this guy's size. So you guys don't go blind. So yeah. Yeah, that notch I could have cut off. I was just in the moment. I just wanted to get that thing to fit for now. All right, I'm going to, what am I going to do? I'm going to wash, all my sins been washed away. I should do some metallics. Focus, focus. See, if I do it at this distance, though, it's like so far. Get no detail out of it. Anyone get seasick yet? There's got to be like a better setup I can do. I mean, there absolutely has to be because this is silly. My depth of field is just like all over the place. See how it barely sticks? Look at that. I had to change it though because I was working on that big model, and then once I changed it, it was kind of tough. This should be easy to work with. All right, I'm gonna do Tesseract Glow first because if I have to go back over it, it's gonna be up against a bunch of metal. And so if I go over a little bit with this, the metal will cover it. If I go this over the metal, it's not so good. All right, so this one model can stand to get a hefty amount of Tesseract Glow. There we go. He's got this injector gun thing. I don't know if this is going to carry enough Tesseract Glow. This brush might not be the brush to use. This brush might be hurting. You seen better days, brush? Beat him up a little bit, loosen the end up. All right, are you holding it? Yeah, you are. All right. I'm just gonna make this thing shiny AF. And this stuff I almost always hit 2 coats with. It is a very technical paint, and depending on how you shake it, it's kind of weird. It performs inconsistently, almost as inconsistently as I do. Dab that on there. It's got these 2 bands around it, which those will probably get, those will either get lead belcher or block bronze. This paint moves around a lot. Like its pigment is not of this world. Hit these potion bottles a little bit. And there's a couple on here that, yeah, I definitely need to hit a second time. Get them shiny. Some of them the first time because I didn't get all of them. There's all these droplets hanging off of all these. This guy's just like, he's got drip, as the kids would say. All kinds of droplets of goop. It's alright if he spills a bit. Papa Nurgle's just happy he's spreading the love around. Even his blade is drippy. much as I love this Tesseract Glow paint, I was fairly restrained with it on most of the rest of my army. I used it for eye slits in a couple spots. There's a guy with a Plague Spewer. Obviously, he's got to have some of it on it, but I didn't use a bunch because I knew this model was going to get plenty on it. And I didn't want to turn it into neon green army. And we'll just touch. Tiny little dabs of the stuff. But on this guy, it looks wild. I think his big potion bottle's getting it too. I think it is. And I'm sure I'm just not shaking this bottle up enough. There's definitely, I'm not guessing, there's absolutely gunk that sits at the bottom of it. I stirred it up the other day with a Q-tip and all kinds of stuff came up from the bottom of the ocean of that pot. I don't know how long I would have to shake that thing for everything to get mixed. Maybe I'll order myself a tabletop paint pot shaker. I used to think those were funny. Now I see how much of my Tesseract glows on the bottom of that pot, and I'm like, I'd like to get at that. Alrighty. See one other bottle I haven't gotten yet. You're getting green. Are you, buddy? Give this bottle a quick shake. Set you down, son. It's almost 11. It is mad green on the bottom. It's a little lighter on the top. I've been shaking it for days. Alright, maybe that's a little thicker. I'm definitely trying not to hit his hands. It's a little bit precarious because this stuff's just going. Yeah, it's an injector pistol. Been brewing this up just for you, Maury. Yes, indeed. Maury, I got a Portuguese question for you, geography. Earlier on, I was talking about a town someone was from, and I thought it was called Espiritu Sancti. Was I even close with that? There's a huge delay on this. It'll take me a second to see what you write. I gotta figure out how to fix that delay business too. All right. So many plagues. So little time. That sounds about right. Oop. Espiritu Santo. Ah. Yeah, I was messing it up with Catholic school when I was a little kid. Espiritu Santo. That's where my producer's from. And we're going to put green in his little eye goggly things. Oh, yeah, I'm getting the shakes. It's getting late. This is going to be the last thing I do. I'm getting shaky, folks. I just need to get a dot in each one of these eyes. It's such a challenge right now. Okay. I mean, I kind of whiffed on that, but so be it. That'll be my swan song for the evening. Not super far from here. Sweet. Alright, gang, it approaches my bedtime. Both of my eyes and my hands are not nearly as accurate as I need them to be anymore for this tiny little guy this late. But I mean, we did well. We got his white with some sepia on it. You can see the detail there. Like, it's pretty cool looking. It may get a little more wash, it may not. We got his greens on. We got a lot of his colors on, and I think next time it's almost all, you know, with the exception of a couple little spots where I add some more green. It's mostly metallics. That cloak underneath, that cloak's going to be red. I don't know. I'll get that at some point. He's got a little bit of chain in there, so but yeah, he'll get mostly lead belcher on like the tubing stuff, and then he'll get warplock bronze around the edges of stuff. There's some more detail and washing to do, and then the cloak and the sword. But yeah, I think probably one more session, and this guy will be done. And then I'll lay everything out. I'll do the math, and then I may have a combat patrol. We'll see. I think I'm one Plague Marine short of a full deck. And also in Toto, I was looking up, I think I'm at like 15, I want to say like 1,500 points ish once I get my Chaos Lords done. So I'm like 3/4 of the way to a full army. That big boy in the back is like 550 points. So that sort of accelerated things a bit. So anyhow, I gotta get some Nurglings. Type that in right now. I should order this mug and this baby onesie. It's up on this other window over here. So silly. So silly, old man. All right. Anyway, I'm going to peace out. Thanks a bunch for hanging out, folks. It was a good time. And yeah, throw Morty in there and you're done. I'm not painting Mortarion anytime soon. And I don't, that's my Mortarion. My Mortarion is a tyrant with a much better gun. But anyway, thanks for hanging out. Hopefully tomorrow I'll knock the rest of this thing out and we continue to make progress. And I finished the Fulgrim book, so next time I'll rap about that a lot. Anyhow, it's been awesome. Take care. Good night.